Test, 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 test. We'll fix.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Smith. Ms. Hughes-Candies.
Here.
Ms. Wall.
Present.
Mr. Kelly.
Here.
Ms. Atkinson is absent. Mr. Steininger.
Here.
Ms. Hall.
Here.
Mr. Brooks.
Here.
Madam Mayor.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Smith.
Here.
You have quorum. I'll look out for Ms. Atkinson online.
Very good. Thank you, Ms. Hendricks. We have one item on our agenda today. Madam Clerk.
One moment, please.
Of course.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Smith. Resolution 4038, a resolution of the City and Borough of Juneau declaring a local emergency in response to the December 2025 to January 2026 winter storm and a request for state and federal assistance.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Mr. Acting Manager, or Mr. Deputy Manager, please. See the man.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Deputy Mayor. My apologies for not having a manager's report in the packet today. This has been an all hands on deck situation. This resolution declares a local disaster. It was made, was it just yesterday, by the manager and mayor in concert with President Peterson from Tlingit and Haida. We have exhausted public resources. We have been very fortunate to have many partners assisting us already prior to this declaration at the state and other local partner agencies. And this declaration avails to us more resources from the state to address our critical public infrastructure across the borough, primarily focused on snow load clearing, drainage assistance, opening up access to fire hydrants, stormwater infrastructure, and last but also critically, avalanche monitoring, forecasting, and mitigation should that become necessary. I recommend you adopt this resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Manager. And no apologies necessary. You've been focused on the things that need to get done. Before I bring it to the Assembly for action, just because this is obviously moving quickly, I will open it up to questions from the Assembly if any has any for staff. We have some others in the room, but any questions from the Assembly on this resolution? Mr. Steininger.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. For you, Mr. Barr. So you said public infrastructure. One of the concerns we've gotten from lots of emails from the public is more in the way of individual assistance and whether a disaster declaration would enable direct assistance to homeowners. Can you speak to that and why that's not included here?
I can. Thank you for the question, Assemblymember Steininger. We've asked this question a number of times of the state, and the answer has been that the declaration and assistance from the state is unfortunately not available to help clear snow from private residences or commercial properties. That simply isn't a service that we can request, and that if we did request that would be made available to our community. We certainly empathize and understand with that challenge that we all as a community face in caring for our own property and keeping it safe, and in clearing what has been an unprecedented amount of snow and now ice and water from our own properties. And of course, we as CBJ staff are very focused on getting that done for the critical infrastructure that we all as a community rely on. Some folks have asked us about the individual assistance program. That was a topic that we touched on in our media availability that we just concluded, and folks can certainly listen to that. I believe K2 recorded it, and folks can find that on their website. But the short answer to that is the individual assistance program is something that is requestable through a disaster declaration. It does require damage to have occurred and in significant fashion for it to likely be approved. If we start to see that from a private or commercial perspective, that is definitely something we'll explore. I think it is also worth noting, however, that the state's disaster relief fund is nearly or potentially completely, I'm not sure, exhausted. And that is a factor, right? We have to consider finances when we are dealing with emergencies, local finances. The state too has to consider state finances in responding to emergencies. And the state has faced more emergency declarations. Well, I don't know that I can say more in any given time period, but there have been many disasters statewide this year that have strained state resources.
Thank you. And I should state that there was no one signed up for public testimony online. There was no one signed up in the room. And I don't believe I'm seeing anyone who wants to sign up for public testimony. So we're done with public testimony on the item. Madam Mayor, I see your hand raised.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Mayor. Appreciate the opportunity to ask a question. This is really not really to the resolution, but I've been asked by a few people today. We have been granted permission from DEC, emergency permission to dump our snow in the channel. Is that also allowed for individuals?
Thank you for the question, Madam Mayor. I believe the answer to that question is no. I will follow up, and if that answer is different, we will communicate that.
Any further questions from the Assembly? Ms. Wall.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Smith. I, understand the state can't come in and shovel off people's roofs. When we saw the flood, we saw kind of a lot of assistance from formal and informal volunteer groups who were, helping impacted homeowners. Are we aware of anything happening in our community? It's more for anything kind of formal that is being organized to support folks who do need help right now?
Thank you for the question, Assemblymember Wall. We are certainly aware of a great deal of, I'll frame it as neighbors helping neighbors activities that are going on right now. We see that every day, just out and about in the field, and it is heartening, right? Juneau is a community that comes together and supports each other in times of emergencies. We've seen that time and time again through the pandemic, through floods, and now through this event. We have been engaging in conversations with some of our partner agencies about whether it may be feasible or plausible to formalize some of those efforts. Specifically, the United Way is one agency that has done that work in the past. Nothing beyond the kind of neighbor to neighbor piece so far, though.
Ms. Hall.
Yeah, thank you, Deputy Mayor. And to follow up on that, I had someone ask me today, in one community, they cited there was I don't know if it was a Facebook page or some community forum where people could say, hey, I need help with this. And then someone would reach out and respond. And so then, so is there, would the United Way or Red Cross or one of our partner agencies be willing to stand up a similar kind of formal way to get the need out there and let folks respond?
Thank you, Assemblymember Hall. We'll certainly ask that question. I think one of the challenge of those groups, one of the challenges that we have that we have faced in the past, and I would predict we would face again, is that it requires a great deal of staff capacity to manage those sorts of efforts, which is why we look to agencies like the United Way to assist. Of course, it requires a great deal of capacity for them too. So in investigating that, one of the assessments we would make would be, which we haven't yet done, which we can do, is would the kind of return on investment from investing those resources be substantially greater than what we already see the community kind of organizing on its own?
Mr. Brooks.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. As far as like the emergency resources go, that could be offered from the National Guard for the types of individuals that might be like elderly or disabled and are like physically like buried in on their properties. I know we can't remove the snow, but what about like digging people out or making things more navigable and accessible on their properties?
Thank you, Assemblymember Brooks. My understanding is that the National Guard cannot be requested to assist on private or commercial properties. We'll double check again on that as it relates to not off of roofs, but off of from an access perspective other than roofs. But that is our understanding, is that they are not available for that purpose. And when it comes to requesting the National Guard's assistance, in general, that is, in requesting additional assistance from the state, that is an area that we are actively working on through our EOC structure and seeking the supports that we need. I'll just flag again that one of the factors will be money. I do anticipate at some point needing to come to you with an appropriation ordinance to address this particular storm. I don't yet know what that looks like, but I did want to flag that for you tonight.
Thank you. I had one. I'm sorry if I missed it, Mr. Bart. Did you let the body did you let this body know what the governor's response to this declaration was? And if you did, maybe just repeat it, because
Thank you, Mr. Smith. I think I might have neglected to do that. Yes, last night, the governor verbally declared a state disaster in response to our joint with the tribe local declaration. That verbal declaration carries the force of law. We know that the state's communicated that to us, and we would expect eventually a follow-up to have it written, but it's formality at this point.
thank you, Mr. Bart. Seeing no other questions, I guess maybe just while we're still on the topic, I will mention there was a press conference just before this meeting. It is excellent, a lot of information, and anyone who wants a lot more detail from Partners National Weather Service, recommend they take a listen. Seeing no other questions, may I have a motion? Ms. Euskandis.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. I move that the Assembly adopt Resolution 4038, and I ask for unanimous consent.
Thank you, Ms. Euskandis. Seeing no objection, that motion is adopted. That moves us to public participation. No one signed up prior. Do not believe. Is there anyone in the room who'd like to speak on non-agenda items? Seeing none. Seeing no supplemental materials, we are adjourned at 5:30.
Chair Wolf.